Hi, this is Stephen Greenhut, Director of the Pacific Research Institute's Free City Center. We're here today in West Oakland, California, touring a really nifty urban farm called City Slickers Farm. And we'll have a great tour that explains why urban agriculture is such an important part of restoring urban life.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah. I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator here at City Slicker Farms. We are a food justice and urban farming nonprofit here in West Oakland.
Hi, I'm Dre. I am the Operations and Community Engagement Senior Manager at City Slicker Farms. Part of our programming consists of building garden beds for folks in their homes and giving them the resources to grow their own food and what that can look like. Currently where we are standing is our community gathering space as well as our plant pickup table. Our plant pickup table is for our backyard garden members that are part of our garden program, where we go and build beds for folks, and they can come pick up seedlings at any point throughout the days that we are open, and ask us any questions about their garden beds at any time. Yeah.
This space was also designed with the community members in mind as a safe green space for residents in the area. When developing the space, we asked for a lot of community input, and one of the main things they wanted to see was a space to gather and enjoy urban green space, which is really rare here in West Oakland. Community members also requested having a community garden space, which these plants also help support the community gardeners that use our space here that may not have room in their home for a garden. And it's just to make sure that kids in the area have a safe place to play, birthday parties can be held here. So this isn't just a farm, it's a space for gathering.
Our founder, Willow Rosenthal, who lived in West Oakland, saw that there was hardly any fresh access to produce in the area. If you are familiar with West Oakland, just for context, we are kind of in the heart of it. We are surrounded by recycling plants, so we really put the urban in urban ag. And there's just a lot of like old railroads that you see. So we were the main hub, like this area was a main hub for a lot of like railroads back in the day and development throughout West Oakland on the West Coast. We're very close to the port as well. But essentially this land was bought in 2010 and opened in 2016, but we took over abandoned plots. We had city contracts with Oakland to manage some of their community garden spaces. If you travel just a block up the street from here, we have an old garden space we used to take care of. And then we got this land as our like main hub. So our backyard garden program goes all over the Bay Area, but this is our main hub for all of our garden members as well as community gardeners. Basically just access to healthy fresh food was the biggest thing for Willow. So there wasn't access. We have San Pablo or Safeway on San Pablo, and then all the way at 7th Street at West Oakland Park we have Mandela Co-op, and no grocery stores between that. And it's about like a 30 block distance of no grocery stores in the area besides corner stores. So definitely addressing public health issues around having access to fresh food.
A lot of the challenges that this community faces is in access to fresh food, and so they end up relying on processed food more heavily, which then leads to longer term health outcomes. It especially affects the populations of color here, as well as low income families, elderly people, folks that are just more vulnerable to food insecurity. So we are a way of empowering people to grow their own fresh food, as well as providing food to the community for free from our farm.
So one of our other big programs, you can walk outside and show you guys our fridge, is our Farm to Fridge program. And so prior to that, we used to have a market stand. All the produce that we grow here is given for free to the community. So this is our free fridge where we put all of our produce. We also actually have a relationship with this organization called Community Kitchens, and they bring food over stocked with us. Oh, it's very sad right now.
That's how much we have such a demand.
It was full like yesterday when I left at 5, like stocked with prepped meals. So there was an encampment that was previously up the road from us, and so prepped meals is really big for folks that don't have access to a kitchen.
And then anyone could come.
Anyone can come. It's open 24 hours. All of our eggs, all of our produce go in here. We have a lot of organizations that also come through on a weekly basis to give us prepped meals, as well as just do like food distribution on their own. So we are a very used fridge. There was an encampment up the road that recently got swept away, but they were always coming here for stuff, for food, for the bathroom. Like Aaliyah said, when we opened this space, it was meant to be a community space, a community hub, so a lot of folks use the area.
Yeah, we're also a really high demand fridge. as Dre mentioned, we usually harvest about 10 to 15 pounds of produce every other day, and we'll put it in the morning, and by noontime it's all gone. Our eggs are especially in demand because one, egg prices have gone up significantly. There's also nowhere to even buy eggs if you wanted to in the area, and there's a lot of families here that rely on that food source for their kids. So our chickens put out maybe like 30 eggs every couple of days. Yeah, so these are our chickens. Chickens are really important in the ecosystem of our farm. Not only do they lay eggs for our town fridge, which is a really good source of protein for our community members, but they serve as composters, so any waste that we have on the farm, they can eat and digest and create fertilizer in their poop. So they fertilize our orchard here. All these trees you see are fruit-bearing trees, so they are our orchard tenders, so they help till the soil, eat pests, and create fertilizer for our fruit trees. They also help us manage our rows. When we bring them out in a chicken tractor, they can help weed.
We have 6 different breeds of chickens. They all lay different colored eggs, which is cool because some kids have never seen like a blue or green egg, and they get to see that, which is cool. But yeah, we love them. They're freaky little dinosaurs, and they're a lot of fun to hang out with.
So we practice a lot of sustainable agriculture practices here on the farm. This includes drip irrigation, which helps manage our water use. We do a low-till to no-till soil method so that we don't disturb the delicate soil microbes. We use a lot of organic matter in our soil, and we also compost, which is one of our biggest ways of keeping the nitrogen and nutrients from the farm in the system. So this is our compost pile that has been cooking up, and it takes time to break down. We turn it every so often. Any weeds, dried grass, waste from harvest. We try to maintain a closed loop system by putting it into our compost so that it can eventually be returned to the soil so that our rows can continue to be fertile. And after a few weeks, it starts to break down into this really rich organic matter, which can be added to our rows as a supplement fertilizer. This way we don't have to rely on any synthetic fertilizers or any input from outside sources, and our rows can continue to produce for years and years.
Real tough question. Tell us about the greenhouse.
Yeah. So we grow all the plants that we grow on the farm, that we give to our community gardeners, and that we give to our backyard garden programs from seed. And so that's why we have this baby plant nursery here. We are on a continual rotating seed basis where we plant seasonally appropriate crops. We grow them in these starred trays, and eventually they'll get thinned out and repotted into bigger pots so they can become more established and ready to get planted. Last couple years we've grown, like thousands of seedlings every year. 4,000 I think was the number from 2020 or something like that. So between 2,000 and 4,000 plants get put out to our shade house, which is out here. And this is where they get hardened off for the outside environment. Then they get designated to where they're going. So some of them get sent to our backyard program. Some of them get sent to our farm park, so what we grow on the farm. And some get allocated for our table that you saw at the beginning, and that table then can be free range pickup for anyone who needs it. And all the crops that get designated to our farm park is what we grow to fruition and what we harvest for the town fridge. So all of these seedlings that you see here will eventually be food in our fridge. And within the past couple years, we've grown about 6,000 pounds of produce to put out for free to our community members. And as I mentioned, all of it gets taken. We can barely keep up even with putting out thousands of pounds of produce a year. So as Dre was mentioning, when we first got started, we were using various pieces of land to garden. What Willow noticed was her neighbors were very eager to donate land to garden, and so she started helping folks build garden beds in their yards and teaching them how to grow food. And all of that food was then distributed amongst neighbors. Some folks, though, don't necessarily have land that they can give to garden. especially in a very populated area where apartment complexes are very common. It might be hard to garden in small spaces, so that's why we have our community garden here. And these beds are all free to folks who are part of the community garden program. They don't have to pay for soil, plants, or tools. We provide all of that for them. They also have access to our know-how and our help, so if they're struggling with something or have questions or they need their irrigation fixed, that's where we come in as well. And these are pretty much free range. Community gardeners can plant whatever they want. We have goji berries behind you. We have sugar cane. We have various herbs, even roses and flowers that people don't have space to grow. This space is that free range, creative space for folks to express themselves through gardening and grow the food that they want to see grown. Someone even brought their own lemon tree that they couldn't fit. So little things like that help empower people and provide them a space to familiarize themselves with growing food. And they also, of course, have access to all of their harvest that they can bring home.
What are they growing over here?
This is green onion. It's just about to flower, so it's really cool. The seeds will come, but it's just flowering green onion. It's completely flowered right there. Yeah, we do a lot of border or co-planting on the farm. Green onion is really pungent and smelly to a lot of pests in the garden, so it helps keep a lot of them at bay and out of your stuff. In our backyard garden program, where we go and build beds in people's homes, they can access those seedlings at any time to plant in here. They can also plant, we may set them up with the bed and they want to do specifically what they want to grow. It's up to them. They can have access to us or not. They can build more beds or not. We're around. But they can always call us and we'll be a reliable source of resources and information for them. And it's a lifetime membership, essentially. I have a neighbor that's been in it for 10 years and has fruit trees from us. There's other folks that have gone on to build their own garden beds after learning how to build a bed from us. So
Well, and there are projects like this where there are big community gardens.
Yeah.
And then there are people who try to help people in their own backyards. And do you do some of the latter?
We do both. So when we have folks here, and then we have our backyard garden program. And when the people become a first part of our program, we offer 2 years of mentorship. So the big reason for that is making sure folks have the resources and the education to maintain their own gardens and how to control pests and set up the irrigation. So every season in those first 2 years, our backyard garden manager will go and bring a new set of plants for that season, teach you how to maintain, how you should plant, what to look out for on certain pests, and how to maintain the pests.
We have about 400 gardens across the greater East Bay area that have been built through our backyard garden program. One thing that we're really trying to create is sustainability in gardening practices. So we don't want to just drop off a bed, say good luck, and hope for the best. We really try to support our backyard gardeners through all seasons so that they feel empowered in the knowledge and ability to grow their own food, so that it carries them for 10 years or more.
Yeah.
I was reading on the sign as I entered that you face some regulatory hurdles at first with the city or whoever when it was started. There were some regulatory.
So how is a paint factory now where urban farming exists? A lot of soil remediation and a cap between us and the old soil. So we had to face a lot of stuff with that, with just trying to figure out how to remediate the land and get it to a place where it can be producing food that's healthy and not full of lead and other things like that. But that wasn't, aside from that, we've been able to, steward this and have the space. And we own this land outright because it was through a state bill for green spaces. So we are technically a private park, but we operate as a public park, but we're not owned by the city. We are open to the public when we are open ourselves. And yeah, it was mainly to have green space as well as forever farmland.
So anyone can walk in and
have
a
at
picnic
any time and a picnic. Yeah, you don't. If you're doing a big event, you can reserve even then some folks don't know that and they just show up with a bunch of people. And it's okay, go ahead.
Just to summarize, how do you think it helps cities to have these sorts of farms?
It's a plus. I think it's an extreme benefit to the city. Whenever we have field trips here with students, even adults, and we're who knows where their food comes from? No one's really able to say that. And to give folks the ability to know where that is happening and how their food is getting to them, even if it means that the work that it takes to harvest or to plant or to start the seed. A lot of that changes kids' perspective on how urban ag looks, and a lot of them get really excited and are motivated to then start their own gardens at home, or like come back. We've had kids come back from field trips and like want to show off the space. We are definitely like a source of benefit to the community, and we've been around for so long that folks are kind of dependent on us to be a community space for them.